Obviously, what your first show was Used and Abused, but that was about 3 years ago, and before that, you've been working in the industry for about more than 13 years. Yeah? Is there a particular reason for that transition?
As an artist, you really have to focus on what your voice is and what you really want to say. I mean, working for others is doing creative work. Is good, you know, and I still enjoy really doing it. But you're bringing a brand to life, your brand's vision to life. When you know this experience, this is my idea to life. And I think when you work also with brands, like you're actually trying to convey an idea or a call to action of actually information, rather than this is really about thought and emotion.
And so, is there a reason why called the way it was versus more was?
Well, Used and Abused was the first, you could say, my first big body of work, and it still is very relevant to today, and it still plays a role in my paintings. Used and Abused, if you really actually look at my paintings now, even if some are a little bit shiny, it's very textured, very rough. They've been through a lot. So the first one was really, it's a comparison to a person. You meet somebody and you meet them at face value, but you don't realize what they actually went through, the experiences they went through, whether it be, good or bad, and, to bring them to that point. And they were symbolic to my paintings, because you would see my paintings where one would be an all white one and another one would be a blue one, but you don't know really what that painting's been through, and each one of my paintings had many lives. Moving forward to this body of work, I think I wanted to leave less of interpretation to them, to the viewer, and I actually wanted to make sure that I actually showed what the paintings were about.
Just so the highlights of Moral Compass, at least based on the press and everything, were liberty checks and code items. Can you elaborate a little bit more why specifically those pieces, or what exactly went into that?
Yeah, well, I actually never really sent out any of the pieces for them to shine more than others. Moral Compass, just in a summary of that, and then we'll go into the pieces. Moral Compass starts from here, and it starts from you, and it starts from within. And wherever you go or navigate to, your heart of who you are is in everything you do. And then I thought about the essence of what a compass really is, and you have different, diameters of it. So then over there was the mind, and then it was the body. So within a section of the mind were, what are the things that I'm thinking about? Time plays a big role. Time, balance, persistence, belief. All that plays a role in the way of thinking. And then there was body, which was, what we're experiencing. So if you see, for instance, these pieces right over here, which were these, very, very New York centric pieces. That's environment, or over here events, or over there, media. So each piece kind of had his own story to tell. I think a lot of people, related to the gold items. So the gold items were the ones in the front, and they were a reflection on. They started off as, my mother gave me my bronze shoes, and I thought it was really cool that after all these years, she kept on those, she kept those bronze shoes, and she gave them to me because, they meant something to her. But it was only because they were bronze. They were my first shoes. They meant a lot, but they were. So then I thought about, we should really cherish all of, the stuff we have. So then that's what happened was, then I started to, bronze my own shoes, bottles, telephones, cell phones, computer mouses. And I just wanted to actually, cherish the things that I use in every single day. And then it became almost like a shrine, and that's how that, came about. And then we have the check pieces, which they look like the Nike swoosh logo. From my background, I don't like to wear a sneakerhead, but I collected sneakers for many years of just buying sneakers and going downtown and collecting stuff, and it was part of my almost DNA of who I was at the time, just like loving sneakers, loving streetwear and fashion, and that was kind of like the community that I was serving within my design work was was a culture that I took part of. But then as I got older, I had all these sneakers that accumulated, and I would just randomly just throw them out. And one time I would just I would give them away, I should say. I wanted to do something with them to represent a walk in the artist's shoes, the journey of an artist. Within the journey of the artist, the sneakers were there for like so long, and I would look down at these sneakers that were on the floor, and I was like, what are these saying? So I wanted to do something Julian Schnabelish, which I was just like kind of painting on top of the shoes. But then, when I want to think about what the shoes represented or what I want to represent, I'm just really, I'm just a hardworking guy that I'm just trying to get things done one thing at a time, lay the bricks one thing at a time. And the checking off the boxes became, very important in my everyday life. Of just, because for you to get a big goal, you had to, you have to do a small goal, and I wanted to use that, in the painting.
And Liberty, is a little bit more of a current.
Yeah. So again, I think as an artist, you're like a reporter. You need to voice your opinion and use your voice as an artist to reflect what's going on. And again, that goes into the body section of what you're experiencing right now. Mass incarceration is all-time high. I think the documentary 13 brought a lot of that to life, where people are actually seeing the power of these prisons and private prisons, and in New York alone, everyone kind of knows somebody who went through something. And it's funny when you see what you call the Lady of Justice and how she had a blinder on. So she became the poster child of this show. The movie about the Central Park 5 just happened, and and people just wanted an apology from the prosecutor of kids who got their lives stolen. And it's just like, there was no sorry, no nothing. So she became a poster of, where's your moral compass? You're over there just doing your job, and police people are just doing their job, but they're not solving crimes. They're just really just putting people in prison. They just think that's the answer, and it's a really, it's a really touchy moment. Especially, I know many people who, went through situations like that. If I didn't find all this, I don't think I would know where I would be. If you come to think about it. So, but back to Liberty. When you see the painting itself, she became the poster child of kind of not someone with moral compass. Like, where is your moral compass? And she's holding up, these two things that represent balance. It's the balance of trying to get your, stuff done while trying to act morally. So in that painting alone, you see a girl by herself because her family was taken from her. People don't realize that when you kind of, with someone incarcerated, you're taking them from their family, and there's also other repercussions that lead for a daughter, to grow up with a father that's not there. You see something where there's a broken homes that are scattered, and the broken homes is because that breaks apart homes in a ship that's falling, for relationships sinking. And then you see something about the last meal, of someone having the last meal before they actually go away. So, there's a lot of political things. I'm not a political painter. I don't, but as an artist, you should do things as a response to what's going on, and that's what I'm doing. In this body of work, it's not anything that I quote unquote represent. It's not anything. It's just a response to the environment which I'm around, in the media and the times. So even the pieces in the front, this one reads united and the other one's divided. It's kind of hard to make art during the time of the election and not have those thoughts go in. And where you stand is definitely on you. But what unites some divide another, what divides some unite another. And that was my response to what that was.
Between the two shows, this one is about 3 years of work?
Yeah, everything's 3 years of work. Mm-hmm.
So even the first show was 3 years of work too?
Yeah, it was probably like 3-4 years of work. In my book, I wrote a big thing about intention and aesthetic, and I think that my aesthetic was developing during the first show. So it was a little bit harder. Like right now, my hand, I'm finally maturing as an artist, where my hand is matching my head. aesthetic is actually matching my intention. So what I intend to do, you know, the first one's a lot of experiments. You see my work is never done with just one thing a piece. They're done with concrete, you know, stucco, oil, enamel, wood, 3D cuts, found objects, you know, sneakers, you know, like, so getting things done is a lot of experimenting, you know, of getting things to adhere properly, their reaction to another, color's response to another, you know. So I think during the first show was just a lot of experimentation behind that, while this one was a little bit more intentional. Yeah.
What exactly is harder, trying to find the pieces to use, or making that
I think, well, yeah, I think the wood cutout's a little bit more purposeful at the end. I think it's time and place, you know, just like people, you know, you meet someone on the street, you know, we meet each other, we never know, you know, like, you know, when the next opportunity is gonna come, but, you know, we meet, you know, and that's how I meet my material almost. And, you know, I kind of like, you know, like, you know, these pieces behind me are just, there's so many different New York City cutouts from years of collecting books and magazines and just cutting things out and painting some and collaging some. And you never know when something's gonna get used, you know, so it's actually like, you know, so, you know, I say that to say that that is a hard part, you know, I went to Italy and came back with a whole bunch of street posters, and then it's like you have all this glue that's chipping off into your, you know, all your new clothes, and you just don't care because you need to kind of bring this stuff home. You know, walking over here, I saw these candles burning, and then, you know, they had like, you know, like, wow, that would be good, you know, that would add to the shrine, or some crime tape, or some posters, or you know, around this neighborhood, there's so many like different things of like, you know, like wanted records, you know, signs, and then people writing their own, you know, their own signs that I could just kind of take with me. So yeah, just taking all this material and finding a place for them, but it finds a place. You just don't know when to find a place. So for a while, it just works in their place. In New York City apartment, it's kind of
New York City, Harlem, like, what about it is so important to it for you? Like,
I mean, I love Harlem. I moved to Harlem back in, I think, 2002. Around that time, you know, it's funny, you know, growing up, it was like, going to Harlem was, you know, it was a different place of actually coming here. And I think I moved here super early, to a point where, you know, Lenox Avenue wasn't the Lenox Avenue of now. And, you know, people kind of see me, but they don't understand, like, I've been here a long time, since that time I saw, you know, the change of it, and the change of it really was just like them finally building it, because, you know, people don't know, but a lot of these blocks, you know, had a lot of vacant area, and now they're finally building upon that. So you walk down most of those blocks, there'll be 2 or 3 different vacant places for buildings. That's why now they're finally building up on it. But for me, Harlem in a whole has always had a lot of history, you know, history within hip hop of, you know, going down where 139, you know, thinking about, you know, just, you know, Big L, and, you know, do my push-ups and my workouts in the morning, where, you know, the park that, you know, Cameron and Big L rap about, to going in and seeing, you know, this is where, you know, this movie was shot, like where I live across the street, you know, above the rim, that's the, you know, that's the court for it. But I like the history in that. I also like the Harlem Renaissance. I like you know, the Shriver's Row over here, and then just also the people in the business. You know, I'm really big on, you know, kind of community, and you know, things get thrown around like words like gentrification and stuff like that. But I just feel like that no matter what, you know, you can't let any neighborhood lose its soul or what it really is, and you know, I really, you know, get a lot from the inspiration from, you know, Harlem as a whole. And one of those times to actually do my gallery somewhere, you know, for me to just say, hey, I think we should do it downtown, or to say, or think it sounds more prestigious to me downtown. I mean, it's, the gallery is beautiful, the area is beautiful, I live right here. It just made perfect sense to kind of do this, and then also the stigma of that's good for Harlem always kind of comes up. You know, almost like, you know, like, oh, that restaurant's good for Harlem. You know, like, it's you know, it's really like if you're talking about that in your work, I think you should actually live by it. You know, where you should put your work. And you know, I'm really happy, you know, just to have the work here.
So you would prefer doing more of your shows here in Harlem, or?
Yeah, I mean, altogether, I want to travel my work as a whole, if that makes any sense. You know, I want my work to be seen in other places. You know, London, Paris. You know, LA. You know, it's hard to tell a New York story in New York. So I hope in the future I could, you know, be able to, you know, expand my audience and my work. We'll see, you know, when the next, you know, time comes for the work, because, you know, again, this is a big body of work, and, you know, this only comes around like 2-3 years, so, you know, when that time comes and it fits, you know, but, you know, my media plans of thinking about location and work is actually just the traveling and an expansion of a different, you know, of a different group of people seeing the work.
So you've done commercial work and you obviously have your own personal work. Would you say there's a favorite on each side, or are you trying to be as non-biased as possible?
I mean, for my personal work, again, it's about me. My favorite work to do is when the two things intersect. You know, so again, not to bring it back to the pieces. Those pieces right over there are about intersection. You know, looking for, you know, everyone's looking for the intersection of like what's luck, it's preparation, opportunity. For me, it's art and commerce. You know, in the sense of doing a project, the brand stick by that. You know, the budgets are there, the time is there, the eyes are on it, and you're able to kind of do what you love that is aesthetically pleasing to you, and that you organically, naturally kind of, you know, fit in with the brand that you're working with. So, you know, because when you do this by yourself, you're kind of making this artwork by yourself for hours upon hours. You're not sure where it's going to be seen, who's going to actually see it, how they're going to interpret it. When you're working on big brand with big brand projects, I feel that you're able to kind of do that, but you know the platform's there, because if they invest in you as the art, they can invest in the actual, into the eyes of that actually see it. So those are my favorite projects, is when those two things intersect.
And so what's next for the Andrew Thiele?
Whereas the Nipsey Hustle, you know, the marathon continues. So you know that's the thing. You get a big win, you get a small win, and this next day you just gotta get up, and kind of keep it going. And just like the painting, you never know what the next actual move is. You know, I just did a book, you know, that's coming out with the show, and you know, and hopefully that book, you know, there's insight that can kind of help people, and that creates a dialogue that, you know, that a conversation continues. And you know, and that's the thing about not to say moral compass, but a creative compass of, you know, my creativity is here, and then it just brings this navigation and journey that kind of opens up from it. So I guess the exciting part is just finding out what's next from here.